Hey everyone, it's Blair here at Time Trades. I hope you're having a great long Easter weekend. Today is Sunday, April 9th, and this is your weekly video. We're going to start as usual with a review of last week's forecast, which was very successful. I'd give myself an A for this. In last week's video, I forecast Tuesday would be the high for the week, and that ended up being correct. After Tuesday morning, we got a strong sell-off into Wednesday, and Thursday we got a bit of a continuation before a push up to recover most of Wednesday's drop. So where does that leave us? Yesterday, on last week's video, I called it a pivotal week, and it looks like we've got the start of a pivot in place here from Tuesday morning. So what happens next? I think we're going to be looking down in the short term here as there's some negative astrology coming up, and there's also some technical divergences that emerged in this week's trading, and I'll go over that a little bit later. Okay, so let's also take a look at the performance of the new diurnal script that we introduced last week. So this is a script that's intended for really short-term trading. And we're here on the Bitcoin 5-minute chart. And on this chart, we've got the diurnal script that is displaying these orange and yellow lines here. And the way I've got it configured is we're showing it based on the New York City location, and we're showing 4 planets out of the 11 that are possible, just to keep things simple. Now, diurnal, as I mentioned last week, is Latin for daily or daily motion. So the whole idea here is that we would capture the daily motion of the Earth as it's spinning on its axis, and note on the chart when planets or the moon or the sun are overhead or they're rising. So you can see here how a very simple application of just using Mars and the moon, Jupiter and the sun results in some very good turns. So you can see here we've got Mars very close to this low. This is a 5-minute chart, so we're within 2 bars of a nice little low here that would have been a great scalp. The moon overhead, ascendant conjunct moon overhead in New York City. Again, that indicated a nice top. Ascendant is not overhead, ascendant is moon rising. MC is with the moon overhead, so you can see how the moon traveled through the sky, ended up overhead, and that kind of completed this whole move. So you end up with these very nice brackets, bracketed by the planetary movement caused by the spinning Earth. And now we're over here, we've got Mars. Mars always seems to be around some of the bigger pivots, and it looks like it may be kicking off another pivot low here right now as we're recording this live. And you can see how when this is combined with some of the other planetary aspects in time trades, you get some very good turns. This is a trine Neptune, or a 120-degree angle between the moon and Neptune, and that just triggered the start of the sell-off here into moon conjunct MC, or midheaven. So the diurnal script is part of time trades, and it's off to a great start here. We've been blessed with a lot of great feedback from customers over the last week. I want to share a little bit of that with you here. So here's some unsolicited feedback. We had a customer on a trial which provided this, and this customer has been able to increase his workflow 4 to 5x just because of the efficiencies in filtering stocks using time trades. Very active trader, very experienced trader. He took about 25 trades on stocks he found using time trades in the last 3 days with an 85% win rate. So of course, your results will vary. And what I found is that time trades customers that are the most successful are the ones that already are somewhat experienced in trading. If you're a new trader, please do not expect these kinds of results just from using time trades for a few days. So when you've gotten experience, some experience, and you've got a good system that works for you, time trades can really take that to the next level. Here's another piece of feedback from a Forex trader that was looking for an edge in the market. And he was able to combine the lunar aspects and the Vedic intraday signals with smart money concepts. Again, the key thing I want to emphasize here is combining time trades with an existing system. And he's been able to pass phase 1 of a prop firm challenge and is confident in passing phase 2. So thank you for that feedback, and I'm happy to share that with the rest of you so that you can see the kind of results that other time trades customers are getting. So to give back and make it easy to get started, I wanted to have a little fun with Easter this week. So I buried a little Easter egg in today's video that is really a coupon code for $20 off your first month for new subscribers only. This is valid for the first 10 subscribers. So by all means, watch the video, look for this Easter egg. And if you're keen to get started with time trades, you can save a little money to make that easier to get started for you. Okay, so that's it for the advertisement this week. Let's get into the forecast. What I want to do is start with TradingView here. So if we go over to TradingView and we go to our video tab, so let's take a look at that. And this is where we left things off. The yellow line is our forecast line. We got that top on Tuesday, which was great. We've got our green target box here. We've got a couple big news events this week. We have CPI on Wednesday morning. We have producer price index on Thursday morning. And I wanted to just sort of take a little bit of time here to share some Fibonacci-based analysis. So let's go and take a look at, let's start with just a basic fib retracement of this move up. So if we anchor a fib here on January 6th, on that January 6th low, and extend it up to February 2nd, we can see a nice little 50% retrace before this last move up. So 50% extremely common retracement value. So if we were to just hide that and then go and use a fib extension here, and a fib extension is when you take this first leg and then apply the Fibonacci extensions to the start of this this correction here down at about 11,800, and we can see that we got up around 618 of the price range of this first leg. So if you take this first leg from 10,766 up to 12,951 and take 618 of that price range and then start that from this point here, about 11,800, you get 13,165, and that's about where we peaked this week, this past week. So this Fibonacci extension is also pointing to a nice little natural turning spot in the markets. All right, so what that means is if we take a look at, say, an overall fib retracement here of this overall move from early January up into early April, if we were to get a fib retracement here, then the typical range of these fib retracements are 382 to 618. Sometimes they extend all the way down to 786. But we'd be looking at sort of this area here as a potential pullback zone for the markets in April. So why do I think there's going to be a pullback in April? Well, you know, a lot of it comes back to astrology and a lot of it comes back to technicals. So before we go and dive into the astrology, I do want to share some of the technical divergences that we were talking about using my favorite indicator, divergence for many indicators. So if we turn that guy on, we can see on Monday, we got 6 divergences here in the MACD histogram, RSI, commodity channel index, volume weighted MACD, and Chaikin money flow. So all 6 of those indicators on the daily, on the NQ, registered divergences. And you can see how significant these kinds of divergences are. As you go back in time, you can see how those tend to indicate important pivots in the market. Okay, so from a technical perspective, we're really set up for a pullback here. And I've been talking for weeks now on a timing perspective about how we're set up for a pullback as well. So let's go and review all that again. Not much has changed there. But I do want to actually, before I go and do that, I do want to point out one little feature of time trades that contributed to last week's successful forecast, and that is this little feature called juice. And the juice indicator has these little spikes, and these spikes indicate alignments in planets, and they happen from time to time. You can see these little juice spikes, and they tend to align very, very well with bullish days. So that was one of the reasons why I felt that Tuesday would be the top this week. And we got a small pop up. We did close red, but we did make a higher high on Tuesday. And a big reason for that forecast was a juice spike. Okay, so where does that leave us here? Well, we're over here on time trades. We're going to review the Astro. Let's turn off the juice. Let's turn on short-term waves. And we also have the mass pressure index daily on. Okay, so mass pressure index daily is these outlined candles. So this is based on Venus's orbit and a composite of the last 6 Venus orbits. And you can see how that is trending down. So that tells me that Venus is in a bearish state. And yellow is Mercury speed. That tells me that Mercury is in a bearish state, because when Mercury speed starts to decline, we also tend to see the market start to decline. And you can go back in time and see how that has worked out. In general, it's a pretty solid indicator of market decline. And then, of course, we have the blue line, which is Venus and Mercury separation. That is going to be making an inflection point or a low this week. So those two are going to be as close together as they're going to be for a while. And that happens on April 10th, Monday, tomorrow. And then after that, they will continue to separate up until May 30th. So that's really the basis of a lot of the astrology and the timing for a push down over the next couple of weeks. So that's the Mercury and the Venus cycles. So if we take a look at the moon, I always like to look at the moon as well. So let's go and take a look at Gann waves, and we'll turn off a bunch of this stuff. So what's interesting about the moon coming up is, well, we're coming down into a Gann wave blue. That often tends to indicate lows in the market. That's kind of the default interpretation. Often it can invert. So that's something to be aware of. But the default interpretation of Gann waves is blue is lows and yellow is a high. So we've got the next yellow over here, April 25th. So I do believe we will see a low somewhere in here between like the 12th and 18th. And of course, we can't talk about the moon without also talking about the upcoming eclipse. So we have a solar eclipse coming up, and let's use time trades over here to turn that on. And the time trade script in TradingView will show eclipse season, and it will also show the GAN waves as well. So this purple box over here indicates eclipse season. We've got a total solar eclipse happening on the 20th. Okay, so that is going to be pretty important. And then, of course, a lunar about 2 weeks later. All right. So as we incorporate all this information into our updated forecast, one of the things I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be moving our little target box up to better align with the fib retracement levels here. So I'm going to move the top of the target box up to the 382. I'm going to move the bottom of the target box to, maybe like just under the 618 here to capture this magic level. Okay. I'm going to leave the yellow line unchanged here. And I'm also going to shift the right edge of the target box over a day to kind of better align with the eclipse that's happening on the 20th. So the 19th is the last full trading day before the eclipse that's happening in Australia. And then I still believe that coming out of this timing zone, we are going to see a bullish rotation. So that's something I'll be looking for. But in order to set that up, I do believe we need a pullback here, and that aligns very nicely with what we're seeing in some of the astrophysics out there. So let's keep an eye on this line. Again, remember, this is just a forecast. It's not a promise. It's not a guarantee. So make sure you manage your risk, trade with stops, follow all those risk management best practices. But this is the forecast that I'm going to be running with and watching closely over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so that's it for the updated forecast. Let's go and take a look at some of the other symbols in that we track. So if we flip over to time trades here, we can go and take a look at the Dow. I'm taking a look at the Dow this week instead of the SPX, simply because it's got like the cleaner forecast. The SPX forecast is a little bit ambiguous, so I'm just going with the Dow this week. All right, so let's turn off GAN waves here. And now, one of the things that we can see here is we've got a decline in the probability of the moves up. So that's pulling back here. And other than that, there's really not a lot that we can notice from the machine learning probabilities. So we've got a declining probability of moves up. And that's peaking on April 13th with a small pivot high. And then as we look ahead into the 19th and the 20th, we've got a big drop in the probabilities of a move up here. So that aligns with our low window. Okay, let's take a look at DXY. The dollar is kind of the kingpin in all these things. And we see the dollar with the mass pressure index showing probabilities of a move up here. And that would align with our forecast for stocks going down. Even though this is contradicting the probabilities of a move down up here in this lane, we have to be aware of the potential for inversions in these probabilities, right? So that's one of the reasons why I built the mass pressure index, is to give a little bit of a directional clue to help interpret these machine learning probabilities. So I'm going to align with the mass pressure index on the forecast here that shows the dollar moving up into our pivot window that ends April 19th or so. All right, so that's the DXY. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, now with Bitcoin, we've got the GAN fans on, and What's notable about Bitcoin to me is really about what's not happening. I mean, it's not pulling back at all. So there's definitely some inherent strength in there. We've got stocks pulling back. We've got risk assets and stocks pulling back. Bitcoin is definitely showing some strength here. And it's staying well within its GANFAN channel. Now, other than that, there's really not much to say about Bitcoin in the short term. The mass pressure index is showing a potential for maybe a little decline here coming up, maybe into the 25K area. But we've got some nice probabilities of up days heading into peaking on April 2nd. So the Bitcoin forecast overall looks pretty bullish in my opinion. You know, we're looking at really a correction in time here, not a correction in price. And I think that we've got a nice chance for a bit of a bull run heading into late April. Okay, let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Now, we've got Ethereum as well with the GANFANs turned on in time trades. And you can see a bit of alignment here between the down days and the mass pressure index. So the mass pressure index is forecasting Ethereum coming down a little bit. That's also confirmed by the probabilities here. So this appears to be in line with the Bitcoin forecast of a small pullback. I mentioned 25K in Bitcoin. And if we follow the mass pressure index, then it looks like we might pull back into this cluster of GANFANs here around the 1600 mark, and then tread water going sideways. But it does look like as we head out into May, the down pressure stops and we see a nice cluster of up moves in late May and early June on Ethereum. All right, and let's close off the call with a look at the NIFTY. And what I love about the NIFTY is just how much it respects magic levels and GANFANs. Like you almost don't need machine learning to successfully trade the NIFTY. You don't need anything fancy, but just look at how this has respected this GANFAN down from December 1st. If we can break out above this upper GANFAN, then that would be very bullish for the NIFTY. We've got this line here, which is the 1x2 up from 0, anchored at 0 on December 20th, 2021. So that is providing some support. You can see it also found support around the magic level at 17,000. So if the NIFTY continues to respect this 1x2 up from 0 and can push up above this upper 2x1 down from the December 1st high, then we're looking good for a nice 3-week bull run into the end of April. So let's watch that very closely on the NIFTY. It does respect these GANFANs very well. So let's see how that forecast progresses. Okay, so that's it for me. Thanks again for using time trades. Hope you have a great long holiday weekend. Remember to trade safe and manage your risk, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thank you. Bye now.